Have you ever wondered why it's so difficult to change someone's mind, even when you present them with solid evidence? Or why we often cling to beliefs that don't serve us? The answer lies in the powerful force of cognitive biases. These mental shortcuts can be incredibly useful, but they can also lead us down some seriously distorted paths. Let's embark on a journey to uncover the 6 most common cognitive biases that are sabotaging our lives and discover how to overcome them. Let's start with confirmation bias. Imagine that you are a die-hard fan of a sports team. Your team just lost a game and you're scrolling through social media. What do you see? Posts about how the refs were biased, the other team cheated, or maybe the universe was just conspiring against your team. Sound familiar? That's confirmation bias in action. We're all guilty of seeking out information that confirms our existing beliefs while ignoring anything that contradicts them. It's like having a personal filter that only lets through the good stuff. Next up, we have in-group bias. This one's all about us versus them. We love our friends, our families, and our favorite sports teams. And when it comes to these groups, we tend to see them in a really positive light. But what about everyone else? Well, let's just say we're not always so kind. In-group bias makes us more likely to favor people who are like us and to view outsiders with suspicion. It's like joining a secret club where only the cool kids are allowed. Let's talk about the filter bubble. Thanks to the magic of algorithms, our social media feeds are tailored to our interests and beliefs. This can be a great way to discover new content, but it can also create a very echo chamber. If you only ever see posts that confirm your worldview, it can be hard to challenge your own beliefs. It's like living in a little bubble where everyone thinks exactly like you. Hindsight bias. Ever played the lottery and just knew you were going to win? Of course, you only realize this after you check the numbers. That's the beautiful thing about hindsight, isn't it? It gives us this amazing ability to predict the past. It's like being a psychic detective, only you're always solving cases after the crime has been committed. We've all been there, haven't we? Watching a sporting event and saying, "I knew they were going to win that," even though you were sweating bullets the whole time. Sunk cost fallacy. Remember that time you started a new hobby and bought all the fancy equipment only to realize you absolutely hated it? But you kept going because, hey, you'd already spent all that money. That's the sunk cost fallacy in action. We often feel this irrational need to stick with something, even if it's a complete waste of time or money, simply because we've invested so much in it. It's like being stuck in a bad relationship because you've been together for so long. Imagine you're in a terrible movie. It's so bad that your brain is slowly turning to mush, but you paid for the ticket, so you stay. Why? Because you've already sunk your money into it. It's like that old saying, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Or in this case, if life gives you a terrible movie, sit through it and pretend to enjoy it. Halo effect. Ever met someone who's incredibly attractive and immediately assumed they were also intelligent, kind, and successful? That's the halo effect. It's like giving someone a participation trophy just for showing up. We tend to let one positive quality overshadow all the others. It's why we're more likely to trust a doctor with a soothing voice or a politician with a charming smile. Think about it. If you met someone who was really good at playing the guitar, you might assume they're also a great cook, a skilled carpenter, and a world-class athlete. After all, they're so good at one thing, they must be amazing at everything, right? Wrong. These cognitive biases can be pretty sneaky, but once you're aware of them, you can start to catch yourself in the act. So the next time you find yourself thinking, "I knew that was going to happen," or "I guess I'll just finish this terrible book because I've already read half of it," take a moment to question your thoughts. Are you really being objective, or are you just falling victim to another one of your brain's little tricks? Remember, it's okay to be wrong sometimes. In fact, it's a sign that you're growing and learning. And who knows, maybe one day you'll even be able to predict the future. Just kidding, that's what hindsight bias is for. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more awesome content.